Hello everyone, I'm Ethan Hernandez, and I've been working in an education setting for 3 years now, with 3 months as a paraprofessional. When I first started, I thought diversity meant sprinkling in a few books by authors of different backgrounds, but digging into a 2025 study by Lund Brownlee and colleagues flipped that on its head for me. They talk about 3 ways we teach diversity: about it, to it, and for it. It's the for it piece that feels like a true game changer. It's not just facts. It's about getting students to question whose stories get told and whose don't. That convinced me to build in activities where students lead the conversation, sharing their own community's challenges and strengths, rather than me standing up front lecturing about someone else's cultures. Then I read Campbell's 2014 piece on the ethical tightrope of diversity work. He points out how our own beliefs can sneak in and cloud our best intentions, like when a teacher's values clash with the need to affirm every student's identity. That made me include guided reflection prompts in my toolkit. Little moments where teachers can pause and ask ourselves, where's my bias creeping in, before we dive into tough topics. And one more curveball came from Shamoa Neer's 2024 research on cheating. In some communities, sharing answers is seen as looking out for your friends, not cheating. And it led me to create conversations around academic integrity that don't just say, don't cheat, but ask, how do our cultural values shape the way we see sharing knowledge? I've always valued empathy, integrity, and responsibility, but it wasn't until this class that I saw how they drive every choice I make. Empathy. When students map out their family's cooking recipes or craft traditions and connect them to math or science, it's like their home lives suddenly become the heart of our lessons. That came straight out of those funds of knowledge ideas because nobody wants to learn in a vacuum. Integrity. Remembering Campbell's ethical warning, I decided to talk out loud with some students. Here's a dilemma I faced, and here's how I wrestled with it and began to solve it. Modeling that transparent decision-making builds trust and shows them it's okay to grapple with hard questions. Responsibility. Including grandparents and parents to share cultural stories isn't just a feel-good add-on. It is a way for me to take responsibility to bridge school and home culture, respecting the fact that families know these kids in a way I never will. 2 big light bulb moments stand out. Adding diverse books wasn't enough. Lund Brownlee and her colleagues stress we need to stay epistemically reflexive, basically always checking whose voices we're centering. So I shifted from here's a list of books to how are we choosing which stories we value and why. Language matters more than I thought. After working in my job these last few months, I realized that the Spanish-speaking students were being left out quite a lot. And after reading Shamoa Neer, I realized that sprinkling in a few Spanish labels around the room isn't decoration, but it can be a signal that you belong here. And that's non-negotiable in my toolkit. My work isn't done when this toolkit is finished. My plan is to keep reflecting. Once a month I can reflect on how I went about teaching in that classroom, or go over clips and lessons and ask, am I sticking to those diversity for justice goals? Also, I can evolve with feedback. I'll gather students and family thoughts each semester. What's working? What feels forced? And what can I work on? And update the toolkit constantly. That way, multicultural education isn't just a checkbox. It's a living, breathing part of how I teach. And I can't wait to see where it teaches me and my students and how it takes me to the next level.